Okay, hey guys, we are gonna make creamy chicken. I think it's actually cheesy chicken enchilada soup. So here we go. I had my 6 to 8 chicken breasts in the Instapot. It's done, they're ready to go, and now I'm just gonna actually meal prep for the rest of the week. I'm gonna only use about probably 2 to 3 in the recipe today. And the rest I'm gonna just portion out into a couple bowls so that I can use them for, I think I have burrito bowls on the menu this week and some chicken lettuce wraps. And then I think I have roasted veggies and shrimp for my other meal this week. And then one day will be leftovers. So let me portion these out. Actually it looks like 6, so I have 2 in each. Do a little bit of broth in each, moisture. I'm gonna use just a hair bit of this broth for the soup, even though it doesn't call for more than a couple cans that I have, but anytime you can have fresh broth, it's the best, for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna put those to the side. I'll put those in the fridge in a minute. First we're gonna start off with chopping up some onions. I hate chopping onions. My least favorite thing to do in the world, actually, because I hate the smell that they leave on your hands, and they burn my eyes, and I hate my breath after them. So I don't love them, so I put just enough for flavoring. My kids don't love them too much. My husband's okay with them, but not a huge staple in our house that I'd totally be okay with not putting in. But for flavor and to try this recipe, I am going to. So I'm gonna do only about probably a quarter of an onion. It actually calls for 1 whole onion, so I'm probably doing a quarter of a larger onion. Okay, chop it up finely. The more fine, the easier it is for me to eat it in the soup, that is for sure, and for my kids too. Actually gonna check and set this out on a plate because what I need to do right now is to saute the onions, and I'll do a little garlic, I think. I don't think it calls for garlic, but I love fresh garlic, even in a Mexican recipe. So I'm gonna do onions. So this is all in one pot. That's what I love about my Instapot. I really try to stay to just one pot. I'm gonna do my onions, and then I'm gonna add my bell pepper. So I've already washed it. Again, I love the taste of onions, so I'm gonna actually flip over, wash my board, and I'm gonna cut my bell pepper. And I don't know if you know how to cut those without getting the seeds everywhere, and I kind of didn't do a super stellar job. If you cut along the outsides all the way around, you can cut right around the seeds so they don't go everywhere. You can cut out the spine. You can actually go all the way down and even cut off the top, but I just leave that much. Rinse off the seeds. Then what's really important, I think, with green peppers is to take out the spine. So like the little white part in the middle, it tends to get really mushy and sometimes bitter. So it's important to take that off. And those of you asking, this is not one of my crock-pot meals that I do. So I'm actually trying out a few different recipes to try to change things up with my crock-pot meals. This is a little bit different than the chicken tortilla or the taco soup or the green enchilada soup that I have. So I'm gonna turn it upside down, okay? I'm gonna just actually kind of julienne these. So thin little strips. And I'm just gonna cut them into bite sizes, about like this. Yeah. If you cut too small for soups, I feel like it gets too slimy. Too slimy to lose their flavor, I think. We like a little bit bigger chunks. So I'm gonna lose the gloves. They're annoying. Now that I don't have my onions, I don't think You can't even see. It's okay though. So chopping away. Next up will be, I'm gonna cook this for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna add a few seasonings of my own. And I'm gonna show you a few other hacks or a few other suggestions I would have when I looked at this recipe, what I would add to it, just for additional twists and flavors that you wanna bring out that your family likes. Big chunks, but that's okay. We can always change those up a little bit when we dish it. Okay, I'm gonna put it in my Instapot I'm gonna actually just turn it on and saute it. So it says to saute for 5 minutes. I'm just gonna kind of watch it here. I have still some chicken broth in there from before. Also, I'm gonna add some oil. A little olive oil, just to kind of give it a little more flavor. Okay, we'll let that cook for just a minute. I'm gonna kind of continue on to the next piece. We need to get the enchilada sauce and the cream cheese ready. And what we'll do is we'll melt it in there as soon as this gets boiling. I'm gonna add just about, I would say maybe half a teaspoon of minced garlic. That would probably be about 2 cloves, if I think about it. Yeah, maybe a couple cloves at the most. I don't want too much garlic flavor. This is Mexican, but garlic never hurts anybody, I don't think. Minus your husband when you get to say goodnight kiss. What's next? Enchilada sauce and cream cheese. So here's a couple rules I have for enchilada sauce. Definitely use this for red. Always use this that I have found. The best green, I think, is this one. Now we're not using this today, so I'm just only bringing that out for just kind of some tips for you, but this is a really good one to use in my green enchilada chicken soup, which is an amazing one. I usually get a lot of hits on that one. So anyway, next is, so I'm gonna add, it only calls for 10 ounces. This is actually a 19-ounce can. I don't know that I opened this already. So I'm gonna actually probably add all of it. I like a little more flavoring. And I'm gonna double my chicken broth amount. It only adds for a cup. I'm gonna do 2 cups. And then another tip for black beans. So here's a couple things that I have. I just sent my daughter to the grocery store and she picked up some black beans for me. These I don't love. They're the cheapest by far, but you'll notice they have a ton of kind of like sauce on them and they're covered a ton. So I almost feel like you get more black beans in this other one. This is it's like a little more juicier, maybe a little more authentic. And these seem to have, I don't know, kind of like the leftovers, but they're cheaper. So anyway, I'm doing 2 cans. Here we go, we're boiling. And then it's gonna call for a cup of corn. This actually calls for a can of corn. No bueno. I do not like canned corn at all. It just has a different flavor to it. So if anytime you can, go with frozen corn. That's just gonna be the best. It's gonna give you a little more moisture too. So if you like a thicker soup, you might have to add just a little more thickening or add some other additional sauce. So sweet corn, and then it calls for 2 cups of chicken breast. So what I'm gonna do actually now, while that's boiling and going for us, I'm gonna cut our chicken breast. Since it was in the Instapot, it's really moist and it's almost like falling apart. So the trick here will be not to get it shredded. I won't mind that, but it's not the goal. I kind of want it to be bite size. So I'm just gonna cut all the way down, and then I'm gonna cut, so you can see. So I have a feeling it's gonna go shredded on me, which is fine. it's nice and tender. So I put, I think, what did I say, 30, 35 minutes in my Instapot with their kind of like half frozen chicken breasts. Calls for a cup, maybe 2 cups. Nope, 2 cups, so it'll be perfect. It looks like I'm gonna get about, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to add this yet, but I'm going to. Here we go. It's boiling nice. Sauteing with the onions and the green pepper. You probably next time will just want to wait till that gets done. I'm gonna enjoy this tonight. So I'm gonna actually add tonight a topping to it that isn't super healthy, so it's an optional one for you all. I'm gonna fry up some fresh tortillas and crispy them, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later, so when it gets a little bit closer, because I like them fresh with our dinner to top it. The kids love them. It's better than putting a tortilla chip, but if you're in a hurry, tortilla chips work as well. So I'm gonna wait to put the rest of the chicken in. I only have 2 chicken breasts I'm putting in. This is sauteing nice. Get that a little bit more translucent with the onions. Smells fabulous. Green peppers are nice and green. And that's gonna cook for a little while, so it doesn't have to be all the way done before I add my other stuff. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna add next. So it calls for 1 full cream cheese. Here's another thing. If you don't use Philadelphia, or if you use the non-fat, it will curdle on you. It'll taste fine, it just looks awkward. So what I found is the non-fat, it does not work. I would go with the full original Philadelphia cream. It seems to cook the best in any of my soups. Again, it's not the cheapest, so if your goal is to go cheaper, there is the off-brand, but it saves you about, what, 70 cents, and you can drink, you'll be eating it curdly. It's not as good. So that is in there, so I need to cook this up, kind of cream it. I'll show you what it looks like here in a minute. So it's just turning kind of like into a milk really right now. And then I need to add my enchilada sauce. Now it only calls for 1 8-ounce of cream cheese. If you want it a little creamier, because I'm adding a little bit more sauce and chicken broth because we don't like it as thick. I like it more brothy than creamy. You can add more, right? So I'm gonna add, calls for 10 ounces. I'm gonna add probably at least 16. Yep, it's probably right around 16. Perfect. It's nice and creamy. Next up, now my diced tomatoes. Here's another trick for you. I have canned a bunch of tomatoes from my garden. So what I have here is more than enough. I think it only calls for, no, you can see it on here. Oh, 14 ounces. So this is, and it calls for 1 can. So I'm actually gonna add some Rotel. I love the taste of this. It kicks it up a notch with spice. I'm gonna add that can, which is 10 ounces. And then I'm gonna add probably only about half of just regular tomatoes. There's like nothing in this, no seasoning, just salt. So what I'm gonna do here is actually use my clean knife here. And these are pretty whole already, so we can them as whole. So I'm gonna only do about half, and I'll probably save this for burrito bowls for tomorrow or Tuesday. The rest of it. Yep, that's probably about right. As you can see, when I cook, I really go off flavor. I don't really go perfect with amounts. Oh yeah, looks great. It's about perfect amount. Okay, I'm gonna add my corn. It calls for 1 cup. Actually, it calls for 1 whole can, but I'm gonna do about probably 1.5 cups or so corn. light corn. Now that would be a carb, so you want to be careful on how much you add there if you're trying to go healthier. You could limit that to quite a bit, or just add that on top, or right before the kids eat it if you'd rather have a side without yours. Okay, now we're gonna add our chicken broth. I have chose Swanson. Here's another one for you that I don't know that I would go off-brand very much. Doesn't tend to have a lot of flavor. And if you get chicken bone broth, that even has more flavor if you're going for more chicken broth. So I'm gonna add, because I like it brothier, this is 1 cup here. Let's see what that looks like. I have 2 open, so yep, I'm gonna go ahead and add the other. I like it brothier than creamy. You can always add more cheese to it too if you want it creamier. Let that saute a little, come to a boil, into my black beans. So I already have these drained. If you don't have one of these strainers, they're like awesome. Basically I have two cans of black beans in here, and then it just kind of is adjustable to what you need. I'm gonna go ahead and pour those in. Love those. And then, let me see, go through and see. I have my onions, cream cheese, 14 ounces of diced tomatoes, 1 cup or 2 cans of black beans. I doubled, so I did 2 cans. I like more beans. Again, those sometimes are too much fiber or too many carbs, so you can always go with 1. And chicken broth, 2 cups. I'm gonna put the rest of my chicken in. Yummy. Surprised there's not any Mexican seasoning in this. I usually cook my chicken with some Mexican seasoning, so we'll see. We'll taste it. Maybe we don't need it with the enchilada sauce. Okay, I'm gonna let that come to a boil, and then I'm gonna just simmer it for probably a couple hours before we eat. It's only 3:30, so it'll be a little bit. Let me see here. The last thing I was gonna bring up was these. I don't know if you've used these before. They're Philadelphia. They come with different flavorings. I think there's a veggie one. I think there might be like a sun-dried tomato. I think there's an herb one to use with veggies. I like to dip them as a snack. It's a healthy option. Like celery, you could dip them in anything, just like a hummus, but I use with cream cheese. These are jalapenos. Oh my gosh, I love it. I use it on like wraps, and we use it as dip. I've put it on all sorts of different things. So I was thinking I could just throw some of this in if I wanted a little creamier. Again, I like it brothy, but just to add a little kick to it. Not too much though, because my kids don't handle spice as much as I do. So I'm just gonna add a hair because there isn't any spices in this. I'm tempted to add a can of green chilies because I love them. I think they'd be perfect in a soup, but the Rotel had some in it, so we'll see. That might be enough kick for this to have enough spice. So I did add, made an addition to the recipe and add that Rotel, so that might be a good option. All right, let me show you. It's looking good. So we'll see. I'm gonna cook it on low for probably 3 to 4 hours, and we should be ready to roll. And then I will come back on and make the tortillas. Happy eating.